I hate that.
Oh yeah.
It's not just that I hate that for you because I do hate that for you. I hate that that happens so much. That people are doing they're you know how they say water finds its level. Like they're literally flowing towards what they're supposed to be doing, where they're going to be most useful, where their skills match, where their genius is active.
Mm.
And the whole time they're going the right path,
Yeah.
they're beating themselves up because they
Like
didn't
what
take
if?
the path.
Yes, because that's the only path you know, especially if that's the only path you know.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome back to Take Yourself to Work, the podcast about finding success without losing yourself in the process. And we have for you a lovely guest. She is a sister in books, sister in publishing to me, which is how we met each other. And I'm just going to briefly say Tiffany has so much in common with me. She also is a licensed attorney and started out in a traditional career path and found her passion and her genius in literature. So without further ado, Tiffany Obeng,
Hello.
founder and owner of Sugar Cookie Books.
That's right. Since 2020.
Thank you so much for being here with us
Yes, thanks
since
for having me.
2020.
hmm
So 6 years in the game.
It is 6 years or coming on 6 years.
How does that feel?
It feels, oh, that's a good question. Surreal at a lot of times. I never foresaw that I was going to be doing like more than one book, let alone 27. And so having a founded Sugar Cookie Books as a publishing imprint for all my works, I hadn't really thought of that, but my husband was like, "You should." I'm like, "I'm just doing one book." So it's surreal to still be standing and still be making an impact.
27 is crazy. We're going to get into that, but let's start at the beginning because you know the whole premise of this podcast is most of us, many of us, if not all of us, start out life with this list of
Yes.
careers that you're supposed they're safe, they're lucrative, or at least stability exists. And our parents set us off in the world to go this college route because
Yes.
that's what they do.
Yeah.
And so tell me, let's see, you graduated in what, 2003, four?
For what?
High school.
Now, why you got to go way back there?
I was just.
Why are you going way back there?
Listen, I'm older than you, so we're not actually going that far back right now.
Okay, but sure.
When'd you graduate?
2003.
Okay, 2003. Yeah, maybe I was already out and graduating undergrad when you came out of high school. Okay, so 2003, you're coming out of high school, and you
hmm
want to do what when you grow up?
Oh, I was going to be an attorney when I grew up.
Why? How did you get there?
Yeah, so as I say, that my mom had planted the seeds, other people in my family had planted the seeds, and teachers had planted the seeds. And what does those seeds look like? So for my mom, she had said, "Oh, you can be a lawyer." My grandparents would always be like, "You should be a lawyer." I'm the first lawyer in my family. So what
Mm.
does any of this mean? I don't think anyone really knew, but they were like, "You can do it." And then like teachers would be like, "You know what? You should be a lawyer." And so it just kept being reaffirmed, or whatever. And my mom even had bought me a little statue of a black U.S. district attorney lady sitting at her
Oh,
desk
okay, Mom.
that I
She
take
was
everywhere.
water dropping.
Yes, right. And so I just knew I was going to be a lawyer. And I knew that lawyers, or I assumed that lawyers were really smart, that they like to read, that they like to write.
Mhm.
And so I just did really well and knew that once I graduated from high school, graduated six in my class, hold up,
Uh,
graduated from high school.
hold up. A
Clock
moment.
that.
A moment for top 10. Thank you.
And so, not knowing what lawyers do, not meeting a lawyer in real life till 11th grade, that lawyer was a criminal lawyer. The only lawyers I seen were the one on TV, and they are what? Criminal lawyers. So I was like, I gotta go into criminal justice program. And so that's why I went to Sam Houston State because they have a renowned criminal justice
They
program. And so I
do.
majored in criminal justice with a minor in political science because again, it's like, oh, lawyers do poli sci. I don't know.
You are definitely following like, the book, the blueprint.
Correct. And I don't
Uh-huh.
think that book is correct, but so graduated 3 years, summa cum laude from Sam Houston State.
Wait, I love the way you just try to blaze by. She said top 10 and not number 10. Then she said summa cum laude, okay, not
mm-hmm.
just cum laude. So
Mm-mm.
clock that T. And so I also heard graduated in 3 years. I'm not
I
making that up.
did. I did. I graduated in 3 years, and it was not on purpose
Oh,
by any chance. I was just taking like the max load every semester and going to summer school. I didn't know that was going to result in me graduating in 3 years. So
She's a nerd, but go on.
graduated in 3 years. And 2 weeks later, I'm stepping into law school at SMU. And there we go. So
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, I made it.
Shout out SMU. That
Oh,
school
yeah.
is a titan in Texas. They put out some amazing lawyers, and I just love how much integrity that program continues to have.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Dedman.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I was told I wasn't going to get in. He said, this
But
guy,
wait, who told you?
a professor. He was up my poli sci professor, matter of fact. And so he was like, "Oh, you're gonna go to law school?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you're trying to go to TSU?" And I said, "No, I'm trying to go to all these other schools, SMU, U of H." And he was like, "Oh, you're not gonna get into SMU. You're not gonna get into U of H. So you need to just go to TSU." And so when I got my acceptance letter, I was beaming.
I hope you mailed a copy to his home. And I'm knowing
Yeah.
he's
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, I've had some false palm colored prophecies in my life also, but I really my my high school counselor was like, "You should apply to more realistic colleges."
See,
I remember her saying that and I thought, "Don't do that.
don't
You don't know
projection.
projection." So I don't know where she was coming from with that, or I do know where
Well, I
she
about
was
to say
coming from.
we know now.
Haters. Wonderful. Okay, so you fly through school
Yes.
like a bat. Get into SMU.
Yes.
You did not mail a copy of your acceptance letter to.
No, but I
Okay,
did
fine.
walk up to him with my chest beamed, letting him know.
And what did he say?
He was like, "Oh, congratulations."
I know that burn. I love that for you. Okay, and so tell me about law school.
So law school, oh, now that was something. So when you're used to being top of your class, everything comes
Mm,
easily to you as far as like academics. You don't really have to study, if you will. You just get it, right?
mm-hmm.
And I'm not tooting. Like this is like, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to a place where a lot of people have been like that. A lot of people are top performers, high achievers. And so then you realize, wait, I think I might be missing a step. Like I missed like the grinding part of education,
Yes.
if you will. And so I did well, but I was not the top of the class. And
Sure.
that's an adjustment for someone who,
Yeah,
okay.
you have this
So
little existential crisis moment where you're like, hold on.
that's where imposter syndrome
Yes.
came in, like looking back, going to law school, being amongst those people and not being like soaring. And then, like I said, or like I say, we graduated during the recession, so you don't have as many opportunities. So if you were not in the top whatever tier, then you weren't even getting looked at my school. They promoted getting into big law. So if you were in big law, it's like, well, what does that mean? Did it mean I failed if I didn't get into big law? And so a lot. It was like a slap,
Yeah,
a wake up call.
let's pause here for a second. You are probably the second or third creative I've had on the show who started out in law school.
Uh-huh.
And you, unlike my other guest, we both went to schools known for being not just aggressively academic versus practical in
Mm-hmm.
the education, but they hang their hat on the fact that they track to big law,
Mm-hmm.
which I think does a disservice
Mm-hmm.
to, and I mean, there were clinics that you could practice
Right.
in, and I remember there were a few kids in my class that came out and went to, like Freedom Project or,
Mm-hmm.
wrongful conviction projects, but it
Mm-hmm.
was like one or two out of hundreds and hundreds because that was seen as
Yeah.
an alternate path that wasn't as prestigious. When are we going to stop doing that?
Well, that's what I try to do now with talking to people who say, "Oh, my daughter or my son wants to be a lawyer." I'm like, "Look, there's so much you can do with your law degree." Like again, I wasn't exposed to different areas of law or different ways of practicing law. All I had was the criminal attorneys that are litigating or litigators. I didn't enjoy doing mock trial. I didn't enjoy. I can't remember what the other one is called, where you
Moot
stand
court.
before moot court. I
Hmm.
didn't enjoy those things. I did enjoy writing. I did enjoy researching, and I actually excelled at that in law school or whatever. And don't cry me a river. I graduated with 3.0 GPA, so I
Hmm.
wasn't like at the bottom failing
Sure.
out or anything like that. Um, but yeah, so now I make sure, like even with my book, Andrew Learns About Lawyers, like, hey, this is things that lawyers do, making it relatable to children to understand what lawyers are. So when someone says you can be a lawyer, it's like, okay, well, this is why they said this. This is what this means, and these are the other paths you can take with your law degree. There's no one path to success as a lawyer.
So we are going to get into these
Mm-hmm.
books because I love what you've done there, but
Mm-hmm.
I like to follow the path
Yeah,
here.
girl.
So what was jarring for me? So I knew I was a creative early on,
Oh, okay.
but and I thought I was a strong writer and I love to read. And what was jarring for me in law school was that legal writing is not creative writing.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And my teachers were like, too many words, use less
Mm-hmm.
words, cut through. What is all this?
Mm-hmm.
Cut through to, your arguments. And then the other critique I was getting was it's too conclusory. Right? Like you
Mm.
can't start at the end and
Mm-hmm.
then back into it. Like you,
You got an eye racket.
oh God, you just gave me like a whole like blue book, Mike, not blue book. What is that stupid book?
I know, girl. I don't know.
I can't even think of words today.
It's okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I believe
The
so.
book, the citation book.
That was Blue Book.
Was that blue book?
Or are we talking about cars?
When I was thinking,
It was blue.
it was the blue book. When I was
Yeah.
thinking about blue book, I was actually thinking about the little blue books we had to take our exams in
Oh
to
no,
write
no,
them
no, no,
out.
no. We did typing and during my time.
It's the shade for me. I think I might have been my law school class was the first year that had laptops.
Hmm.
Before that, they were like
You were
laptops.
trailblazers.
Okay, let me tell you a funny story though. We were also my first year of law school was the year Facebook dropped,
Oh, okay.
and it was AOL Messenger.
Mm.
And so if you hadn't done all of the reading and you got called on, law school uses the Socratic method,
Yes.
meaning you should have read all the cases the week before, and they're going to call you and ask you to explain things and reason through things. But if you hadn't read all the cases or if you tried to skim, like some of us
Mm-hmm.
did from time to
Mm-hmm.
time, because we had AOL that year, anyone who was your friend in the class would be like typing frantically, trying to help you explain. And I was like, I wonder what people did the year before us.
Struggled like everyone else.
Just started sweating and crying and got
Yes.
the shakes.
Correct.
But yeah, so okay, so needless to say, I thought legal writing was a jarring. I
Mm-hmm.
got it, but I was doing it like creative writing first.
Mm-hmm.
But for
Mm-hmm.
you, it sounds like you took to it instantly.
Legal writing, yes. The one where I'm trying to think. So they have like two types of legal writing. They have the legal writing that's more research based. So you're being more objective. So that's where I thrive for the legal writing. But the one where it was more argumentative, persuasive,
Hmm.
well, according to the grades, I didn't thrive in that area as
Hmm.
much as far as this is the information, these are the facts, this is the analysis, this is the possible conclusions, instead of let me convince someone that this is the way they should
That's
go.
why you didn't like trial.
Probably so.
Got
And
it.
I don't like adversarial type things.
Oof,
Yeah.
wrong profession. Lawyers have a reputation.
Girl.
The personality is there's a
It's,
whole
yeah.
a whole there's a host of articles, but one of my favorites was written in like the early 70s about the legal persona and
Mm-hmm.
how it takes over
It's
the
toxic.
person. It's bad.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say, for you to say I do not like adversarial things, it is the most adversarial job you can.
But I was supposed to know that. How was
I
I supposed to know
Yeah, because you hadn't met a lawyer. There were none
Right.
in your family.
Right.
And the ones you met, I don't know that you got to shadow them or anything like
I didn't
that.
get the shadow. They gave like he gave like a crash course in like this is what law school is and this is what you do for your LSAT. But no, I didn't get to shadow or anything. So that's very helpful for those who are interested. Like, make sure you go intern. But I still don't think you'll be able to see the adversarial nature of things. And all lawyers are not. Like the profession can be adversarial in nature, but it's who you're dealing with on the other side that really
I
grinds my
think it
gears.
depends on the path too. If you're going into litigation, it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
much more
Yeah.
adversarial than if you're transactional.
Right.
And if you decide to go into public interest work,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, still kind of adversarial depending on what side of that is, but a lot of that is very empathy driven and
Mm-hmm.
um, humanitarian. And
Mm-hmm.
I think there are ways you can be in the practice of law and
Mm-hmm.
not have to completely suit up and arm up to go to
Yeah.
battle every day.
Yeah.
But there's also a
Yes.
wide lane of absolute
Like, why are you
soldiers.
acting like that? Like, it's
You
really
can't
like
turn
that.
it on and turn it off.
Why do you act like that?
That's the problem. If you turn it on all day, it's really hard to turn it off. And so that's why lawyers get their reputation, not because of how they are in court, because they talk to regular people like that.
But the makeup of the field is the problem.
What do you mean?
And you know what I mean.
Say more.
So, for years and still to this day, the racial and gender makeup of the legal profession is dominated by white men, right? So, if you're going to have the white men and they have set this standard, if you will, of legal toxicity, I'm making up these phrases now, but they have set the standard, then everyone's trying to operate like that. Like, oh, that's the beacon of success as a lawyer. You have to be this a hole essentially to win. You have to be this a hole to be respected. And so what happens when you start becoming a little bit more diversified, and especially when women start coming up through the ranks
Mhm.
and black women, it's like we're not wired that way. And so you have to create like rewire yourself. And it becomes difficult and it becomes stressful and it becomes fatiguing. You get exhausted to put on this armor when all you really want to do, like we both have our clients that we are trying to advocate for, but why do we have to do it in this manner? And it becomes really hard and exhausting and burnout
That's
comes.
the mask.
Yeah.
That's the mask. I did a whole TED
Yes,
talk
you
last
did.
year about how exhausting it is
Yeah.
to put that mask on every day, and you have to keep asking yourself, why? Is it worth it
Is it
today?
worth it?
Is it worth it today? It's interesting that talked about toxicity, and you kind of raised the avatar of the white male lawyer that's super aggressive. I distinctly recall watching depositions before we graduated, and they were touted as masterful depositions, and it was Joe Jamel and them cussing people out.
Yeah, no.
And I was like,
No.
you can do this? You can go to work and talk to people like this?
But
And they're like
why?
super lawyers, like heroes. They've got, their statues everywhere.
Like the Jim Adlers or Hammer.
Texas. So, and the thing is, I wonder if Jim Adler is really like that, or I don't know. That's how his commercials are.
Hmm.
But I don't even think Jim Adler goes to court. I think he's got like
Oh, of
hundreds of
course. Yeah,
lawyers.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I don't. But I remember probably. Oh my God, I'm so old. Maybe like 10, 11 years ago, I was doing a CLE in ethics, and it was about civility in the profession.
yeah. Hmm.
And it was so interesting. All the women in the
Yeah.
crowd were just, it's terrible. It's unbearable. People are mean and nasty. And
Yeah.
men were like,
Eh.
it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
No, it is.
Which, maybe that's why they don't want so many women in the law.
Right. And then when you have the layer of being not only a woman, but a black woman, and then they're acting that way, it's like, are you acting this way because this is how you are? Or are you acting like that because of who I am? And
Right.
so it like builds up even more like now I really gotta act this way because I'm not no punk. But I don't want to act that way because it's like unprofessional and it's not required. So it's just a lot.
I've seen changes. I just don't know if they're fast enough or dramatic enough to overhaul what's now canon law that you have to act like this. But I think people are trying to be different. I know there are many lawyers who pride themselves on not being stereotypical lawyers. I, on a daily basis, get to work with a small group of lawyers who are so just diametrically different than the typical lawyer personality that people say to them the same way, like, you don't act like a lawyer. And so it starts to be weird that if you are a
Yeah.
good person, or then people say you don't act like a lawyer. So what does that mean about what
I
lawyers act
know.
like? I don't know.
But yeah.
Okay, so you decided screw this, or we tried. You practiced for a while.
Yeah, so graduate, didn't get big law, went into a small solo practice firm or whatever. So I did that for like a year, but I did become interested in employment law and employment discrimination during my third year of law school. So that's the last year of law school. And thankfully, this guy had come, a professor was hired to teach those two classes. And so he introduced that idea, that area of law, because I knew nothing about it. I never heard, like, oh, employees have rights, huh? Like, who knew that? And so I knew I did not want to do criminal. I knew I did not want to do oil and gas. Oh my gosh, it was like so terrible. I'm like, nothing is really exciting to me. Con law, perhaps, but at that time, I really didn't care for historical type
And then you
things.
have to clerk really to get into
Yeah,
common
and I
law.
did have an internship at the Supreme Court during my time there
Of Texas or the Supreme Court of
of
the United
Texas.
States?
Oh,
Okay.
Texas,
Okay.
Texas girl.
Just still a big deal.
Yes, it is.
Still a big deal. I just didn't know which Supreme Court you were referring to.
Texas Supreme Court.
Okay.
And so,
Shout out Wallace Jefferson.
Was he there
the
at the
first and
time?
only, I don't know, but
Oh,
I love that guy. He graduated from UT and he was the Chief Justice of the Texas Supreme Court. My really good girlfriend clerked for him. I worked with his wife for years. That's a good guy. That's a
I feel
guy
like I
you would
remember
meet.
Adele. I'm trying to remember if I remember
Wallace Jefferson,
Wallace.
he's a fair skinned black man, freckles, great smile.
Hmm.
He also was someone I would imagine, but I mean, he went big law. So
Yeah.
he was thriving in that environment, but just didn't come across that way. So I don't know how he was pulling it off, but shout out Chief Justice Wallace Jefferson.
um. So yeah. So I'm working at the solo law firm, and it's specialized, or it's like what do you call it? I'm losing my words as well. It's not specialized in anything, general practice.
General
And
practice.
I'm like, but I want to do employment law. I want to do employment. I want to like be for the employees, make sure they know their rights, right? So I hooked up with this other lawyer who had a solo firm, and I'm not gonna say his name, had a solo firm, and he did employment law for plaintiffs. And so got a little more exposure with that. So
Nice.
after that,
Did you get any action or you're drafting?
did some mediations a little bit, but mainly just drafting charges, whatever. And so I'm not like in the throes
Still,
of
a lot
toxicity,
of the work is
if you
on the
will.
paper. So yeah, you were doing the Lord's work.
And so after that, an opportunity came up to go to a consulting firm where they did equal opportunity consulting. So I was like, oh, employment discrimination, that sounds cool. And I don't have to worry about arguing with anyone, I could just continue writing. And so it was actually consulting for the employers.
Mm.
So I was like, that'll be cool because I can get on the inside and I can like change the world because there'll be no discrimination if we just teach, places about discrimination. People don't want to discriminate, right? So if you teach them, then we can prevent discrimination. So I'm thinking it could be more proactive. That's what I thought. So I went to the consulting firm. I was there for 11 years actually,
Oh
moved up.
wow.
And we did mainly responses, position statements, so responses to charges that were filed. I wasn't being proactive at all, but responses to charges that were filed, and also doing investigations for like TSA and things like that.
Okay.
And so it had a lot of writing, had a lot of writing, which I
But you see,
enjoyed.
that's never on the board. When kids are in law school figuring out what they want to do, no one says,
Right.
you can go to a consulting firm that it
Exactly.
just doesn't
It's
show
legal
up.
adjacent, but they hired only the lawyers to do it, but we couldn't practice. So sometimes I would do like mediation prep, but somebody else would have to like, well, the person
There's
who does the
so
mediation.
many legal
Yeah.
adjacent fields. So
Yes.
many.
Yes, I love it. But at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I failed. I'm here. I've never been like at a big law firm or whatever. So I was there for,
The white shoe firm.
yes. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm a failure. And so, and then also like whenever I would tell people, they'd be like, oh, you're a lawyer, where you work? And I tell them the firm, they'd be like, oh, I'm like, oh, it's because they don't know it,
But
right?
the percentage of lawyers who land there is actually pretty small.
But friend, what I found out years later was like people don't know, period. I
No,
was
they
working at the
don't know.
biggest law firm for employment discrimination in the world. And I would say, they say, where you work? I say it, they'd be like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, you still don't know where I was like, so this whole time I've been walking around thinking you didn't know because I wasn't doing the traditional law thing, but you just don't know because you don't know.
Well, no. So here's the thing. If you're not in that world,
Yes.
those names don't mean anything to you. And I've
Anything.
had several people sort of name drop their firm during the course of my career, and I'm like, who? And I know they think I'm being funny. Like I know they think, oh, she real funny acting.
Yeah.
I know she knows we're AM 100. I don't. I literally don't know, nor do I particularly care. Now there's some names because we're in Houston. You know them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you knew them, but now they've merged and remerged and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of you recognize one or two of the
Mm-hmm.
names. They like to join and break up and join, right? But yeah, I don't. I just again, this is one of those things where your job should not become your personality. Like,
Or
okay.
your worth. And I think that's what it
And that sounds
was
like where
for
you
me.
were stuck.
Yes.
You were stuck in, I didn't become the thing that everyone said I should have been able to become.
And nobody really knew what that thing, how it looked like when you became it,
What were you doing with that
right?
feeling?
Suffering in silence. No, just going about my day. But like,
Yes.
it wasn't like a. And this is really like hindsight stuff.
Okay.
So I'm going through the thing like I have to get into big law. I have to get in big law. So even while I'm at that consulting firm for 11 years, even while I'm at my next job for 6 years, I'm like I have to get into big law. But it was kind of like starting to
So you're not
fade a
even
little bit.
enjoying what you're
Right.
doing,
I'm enjoying it and I know I like it,
but
but
in
it's
your
like I
mind, it's
haven't
just
made
a
it to the
stepping.
success point.
Oh
See, I
gosh.
haven't made it to the success point. What people said was successful. And that's where the rewiring had to come.
Yeah.
So people have taught it, and by people, I'm just speaking generically, but let's just
Right.
talk about the school. People have taught it this big law firm life as the success of a lawyer. Well, if I didn't make that, and that's all I know because I don't know lawyers in real life. I'm the first lawyer in my family. So and the lawyers I'm running into, especially in that community, they're at big law or they're in-house at big places and things like that. And I'm like, I'm over here at my legal adjacent place. And so
That's really, I hate that.
oh yeah.
Now it's not just that I hate that for you because I do hate that for you. I hate that that happens so much. That people are doing, they're, you know how they say water finds its level. Like
Mhm.
literally flowing towards what they're supposed to be doing, where they're going to be most useful, where their skills match, where their genius is active.
Mm.
And the whole time they're going the right path,
Yeah.
they're beating themselves up because they
Like
didn't
what
take
if?
the path.
Yes, because that's the only path you know, especially. So I finally got the opportunity. I was recruited. I was minding my business at my job, kind of like, okay, this is going to be it. I'm just going to be sitting here at my legal adjacent job, which I like. I really like this job. I like the
But you
people.
keep calling my legal adjacent job.
I make good money there too, but it's like, but anyway, I get a phone call. They're like, "Hey, this firm is looking for la la la. I think you'd be a great fit." I was like, "You know, I ain't
And
practiced in forever." They're like, it's fine. You'll be fine." And I got the job, and I was like, "I don't like this."
very important that you have that moment, though.
It
Very
was.
important. They say don't meet your heroes. Also, don't get your dream job
No, but I
sometimes.
needed that because I needed it to break free from
Yes.
because I reached the pinnacle of what I thought other people thought was
Hmm.
success.
Hmm.
I'm talking to people. Oh, where are you? You're a lawyer. Where you work? I tell them. Oh, what? That's the same reaction you've been giving me this whole time.
So I have done, but that's another thing. You're doing something for an external reaction, and then
Exactly.
you got it, and you still
Still
didn't.
didn't get the validation, right? So
It's crazy.
luckily, the place I was at before, my boss and my teammates, they really were like really cool with each other. And so my boss, when I left, she was even like, "Let us know, trying to keep me or
Just come
whatever."
back.
So she was like, "Let me know what you want to do. Just come back." And I was like, "Yeah, I really don't really care to be here because other lawyers are a-holes. They're not nice people." And
There, who is it? What's his name? Jim Carrey.
oh yeah,
He was very famously said several years ago in a speech, I wish everyone would just everyone had a chance to just have like $10 million
mm-hmm.
so that they could have that experience and realize they're
Mm.
not happier just because
Mm-hmm.
they have $10 million,
Yes, that was
which
my $10 moment.
I'd love to actually
Correct.
test him out on this theory. However, I feel like this is that.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go big law, and then you have to land either with, adjacent to, or around a bunch of big law practice to think, oh,
Yeah.
this is not the magic bullet that I thought it
Mm-mm.
was.
No, I really didn't like that aspect, and it was a lot of hours.
Yes,
So I
billable
had worked
hours.
billable hours, and I think if I hadn't gotten that opportunity when I was in my early 20s, it wouldn't have been that bad. But I had gone to another institution. We weren't grinding like that. So
Yeah,
to
there
regrind
are easier ways to make money.
and have work-life balance
There just are.
and get paid well. And so I was just like, I don't know, because even when I went to that law firm, I was getting paid. I want to say the same I was getting paid at. So I wasn't like I had a come up when I went to that law firm. It was really just to
Mm.
get like I finally got it, and they
More
came
work,
for
not more
me.
money. Yeah.
But they did end up giving me more money.
Oh.
And then I used that as leverage for where I went. But anyway, so yes, I got it, and then I finally realized, finally after 15 plus years, like I had already been successful this whole time. I
Yes.
had already been in the path I was supposed to
Yes.
be, and now I need other people, particularly children, to understand that.
Okay, so great. Now we're at my favorite part of the
Oh, are
story.
we? We made it?
We've made it. So, okay, so there's a process. Everyone's life has a process. Okay. You just laid out clearly for us. It's so funny. This is what they were talking about at church this morning. That the promise is in the process, right?
Hmm.
So you've done all of that, and you've realized there's more to me than whatever job I put on LinkedIn, like the name of my firm or whatever. Like there's something else.
Mhm.
How do you make the leap? Like how do you go, I'm gonna write a book? What does this come from?
So yeah, okay. So along with my mom believing I should and would become a lawyer, she also was like, "You're gonna be an author." But of course, you follow the path, and I think you mentioned this earlier. You follow the path of becoming, the lucrative job, the job that's fancy and cute and all that stuff. And so I pursued a lawyer. Then it's 2020. Everybody's starting other gigs, right? So it's
Hmm.
like,
COVID.
uh-huh. So it's like, oh, what can I do? What is life about? Like we're sitting here in our homes. What is life?
Deep thoughts.
Yeah. And so I finally figured out like how to publish a book. So I published my first book, which
Called.
is Andrew Learns About Actors. It was just really a legacy, a bucket list item, legacy, if you will. Like, oh, this is something me and my son could have. It has his name, it has his likeness. We both love TV, we both love reading. And so this will be my one off item for us to share. He was like 4 at the time. And so I published that book. But again, right when I'm like about to publish it, my husband's like, you should. I was like, hey, I heard about publishing imprints. I don't really understand it, but I don't know. And he was
So
like, no, I
what?
think you should
So
do
your
it.
husband kind of knows about,
No, girl.
but
He just
he's looking
supports.
something up, or he just knows it can be
No.
bigger than what you think.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
yes. And
okay.
so he's like my mom in
We
that
love a
regard.
supportive king.
Yes. So I was like, yeah, I heard about publishing imprints, but I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling him about it. He was like, I think you should do it. And I'm like, I mean, and to establish a publishing imprint is not like it costs money or
No,
anything.
right.
So it's just, establishing it. And
So you
so,
wait, but you knew you were going to self-publish this book so it could be done.
yes,
You never thought, let me write it and shop it around for a year.
no,
Okay.
no. So maybe like years before, like I'm in college or whatever, and my mom's like, you could be a lawyer. I mean, an author or whatever. I might have had some things I had written. I was like, oh, let me see how I can get it published because there's gatekeepers, or there were.
Yes.
And so trying to figure out that what I now know to be querying process, trying to figure out the querying process, the submission
Hmm.
process. I was like, it ain't that easy. You just don't walk up to Penguin Random House and be like, hey, take my manuscript.
Mm-mm.
So I just put it to the side. I was
They're
like,
not
yeah,
even
that.
gonna open that bad boy if you do that. Security.
Correct. And so I just put it to the side because I'm like, I don't even know how to get into the publishing industry
Right.
traditionally. 2020, you see people were talking about, or I started seeing people talk about self-publishing. Oh, I didn't know that was a route.
It
Let me learn more about
exploded.
that. Yeah.
Exploded in 2020.
Exactly. That's all I like to say. In 2020, because it's like when
Hmm.
everybody started fulfilling their creative jobs or
Yes.
careers or whatever, musings.
Such a reset.
Yes, yes. And so learned about self-publishing. In that process, learned about an imprint. My husband's like, do it, just do it, just do it. I'm like, I'm just gonna have one book. I need an imprint for one book. He was like, you're not gonna have just one book. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have one
He
book.
saw the vision.
He saw the vision and he made it plain. And so I was thinking of names for the publishing imprint, and I pulled out this book that I had bought, Trademarking for Dummies or something like that. And so I was like, hey, I'm thinking about coming up with a name that could possibly be trademark one day, like registered. And he was like, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, all for one book. Like, I'm still thinking, like, I'm doing all this for one book. So, anyway, came up with the name Sugar Cookie Books, which is currently a registered trademark. And so I put out my first book and I was like, yay, hey, family.
Okay, can we pause here for a second?
Yes.
Just because I think people skip this step.
What's the step?
Yeah, I want to stop here because this is a critical piece of the journey. Now, I realize that when you did all of this stuff, you felt that you were probably overdoing it and you probably you didn't necessarily need an imprint and you didn't need to be trademarking. It was one book. But because you did it, I know that's part of what sets you up for success. So I want to just ask you a few questions about the process of trademarking. 1 to 10, how complicated do you find that process to be?
I didn't trademark immediately because you do have to have some time. So I trademarked last year, I want to say. Um, how complicated is the process? I don't think it's complicated, but having the legal background and willingness to research goes a long way. Now, it
Yes.
is, I mean, expensive. To me, it's expensive because it's a gamble. You don't know if they're
It is.
gonna.
You can spend all that money and not get the
Yes,
trademark.
correct.
Hmm.
And so, going at it without a trademark attorney, somebody that actually knows what they're doing, was a risk and a gamble that I obviously took. But I was like, I think I can read and I think I can apply.
Hmm.
And so I wouldn't say it was a complicated process, but it does take a little bit of know-how
Yeah.
to know what you're applying for, the codes and all those types of things. I can't even speak probably eloquently about it because I'm not a trademark attorney, but
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here for just for a quick second. So I trademarked twice. Because first time I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I got a trademark because I thought I was gonna do this huge, expansive thing, and I tried to bundle everything together at once. So I wanted it to be, I think it was like bird house. It was called the birdhouse, just the
hmm
birdhouse, because I wanted all these things in the house. And big faith, busy family, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do stuff with my family, and girl, it was a mess. It was too big, it was too expansive, like it wasn't delineated. But I left it there for years, and I actually re-trademarked into actual birdhouse publishing, and it was hard
hmm
the second time. And I am an attorney, and I had done the process once, and I thought it was easy. First of all, between the first time I published and the second time I trademarked,
hmm
3 or 4 or 5 birdhouse publishings popped up.
Yeah, that happens.
Birdhouse publishing, birdhouse book. Like apparently the name got popular, people liked
Yeah.
it, and they weren't even all in my lane. One of them was
hmm
exclusively music publishing, and one of
hmm
them, and so then I really had to do that research you were talking about. Like, how do I differentiate what I do so that I can have my name and it's not confusing to the average consumer, and I'm not competing with this. And I actually wound up spending a lot of money the second time and fighting somebody. I had to like go back and forth with another
Yeah.
person. And so, do I think it was worth it? Now, yes. What was it, an investment? Also, yes. And I don't even have 27 books, right, of
hmm
my own, but I would tell anybody who believes that they are going to be a brand
hmm
to trademark at the very least your name,
hmm
or what you go by, because if nothing else, you can default to your name as your business entity. And so do it and do it early. There's a whole market of people out here who just exclusively purchase trademarks, copyrights
hmm
of things that they think are going to become popular.
hmm
There is a whole market of people out here, a community of people who specifically, if they see something becoming popular, if they see something getting successful, they do the research and they try to beat you to trademark or they beat you to copyright. And so, if you are building a brand for yourself, even if it's just your name, or something that's gaining popularity, please go ahead and do the process. It'll cost you a little bit of money. Maybe you'll even need to hire an attorney, but it's so hard to come on the back end and try to retrieve it or purchase it back. And that's what they're banking on. They're banking on you
hmm
having to purchase the title from them or being able to make money off of your product. And there are a lot of black creatives recently who have run into really horrible legal quagmires because they didn't trademark and someone else trademarked their their business. So yes, please do that. It's important.
A PSA.
PSA. Okay, so now we've moved on past that. So
Okay.
a book is great, and I love the concept. Andrew learns about actors, which is cool, but I just need to understand how you get from 1 to 27.
Okay.
That's a lot.
So they say once you publish one, you continue publishing. I didn't know that was a saying until I got into it. So I published the one. I was like, yay, look what I did. And I was like, this is going to be career day. So I guess the idea kind of started forming, but I still didn't foresee that I was going to be 27 books later, especially not within 5 years. And so I'm like, okay, career day. Schools don't really have career day anymore, and kids don't know like what they can do and what they can be. Like they're looking at these characters on TV, which is like the gist of the book. Like you see
Mm,
these characters on TV, you might even be interacting with them just like Andrew interacts with the characters or I interact with the character. But I know that the characters are played by actors, and those are something you could be. You could be an actor one day, and this is how their day may look or some of the skills they may have. And so that was career day. And I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna do another career day book. And so the next book was Andrew Learns About Teachers, which came out in 2021 during the height of the pandemic. And so that one is more of an ode to teachers. The idea of the people that these kids see all day are someone you can aspire to become. And I also wanted to put the image out that Black male teachers belong in lower elementary, early elementary. I put out Andrew Learns About Teachers, and at this time, because I guess I'm still in the self publishing community, I'm seeing statistics about how Black characters, because I'm
mm-hmm.
putting out the book again. My son is a Black child. and he's a boy. And all I had at the time was a son. And so I just had his name and I had his likeness, but I wasn't thinking I was diversifying anything or even trying to. I was just,
Hmm.
it's my experience. And so I put that book out, and I'm looking at statistics about how children's books don't have a lot of representation. Like black characters account for 13.4% at the time,
There's
and
actually more books with animals as characters
40%.
than people
Hmm.
of color, children of color. Yeah.
Right. So I saw that and I was like, well, that's kind of messed up. So, and that's what triggered. So you have to think like my child was going through all the phases of growing up. So he was lying or had learned about seasons. So I just started looking at the different types of books that was out there, particularly universal themes seasons. I'm like, okay, we have Snowy Day, but that was from 1960 something.
I
So,
know.
what is the next book that is that has a black character on it that's just enjoying the season? So I put out Winnie Loves Winter. Then honesty books. I'm like, okay, where's a book about honesty with a black child?
What are these? Okay, what are these? Let me understand the lanes because you have
Yeah.
a lot of career day books.
Yes,
I don't know how many are in that bucket.
that is 7 right now.
Okay, so seven are just about discovering, I guess,
And introduces kids to the
vocations
fields.
or fields. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, aside from the teacher one,
Uh-huh.
because COVID, do you consider any of them to also have a little social commentary embedded about the value of those
Oh,
professions?
definitely. So all my books are intended to educate, inspire, and normalize our children. And so because of my background, I am going to have something educational in there. And then also I'm going to have something that's inspiring. And so for the career books, particularly, I do like nods to pioneers in the field.
Mm.
So with actors, we Andrew learns about actors. We had Holly Berry, Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, because they were the first black
Ah.
actors and actresses to win an Oscar. And that's why when Michael B. Jordan just went, I was like, oh, I might need to update this and add Michael B. Jordan. And then with lawyers, we have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we have Thurgood Marshall, Fred Gray, Barbara Jordan. With engineers, you have so on and so forth.
So
So,
now how can you do that? Because people get
uh huh.
really gummed up about you need their people or their camp or you need to get some kind of clearance to have a book about a public figure. How does that
It's not
work?
about a public figure. So that's part of it. Again, I'm not an IP attorney. So the limited research that I've learned about it is like if I had them as like on my book cover and I'm selling it as them, then that would be more problematic than me just saying, you can be like Fred Gray, who's XYZ. It's factual. It's not saying anything bad about them and it's not being used to sell my book.
Okay, so they're just one of the cameo featured people who are
Yeah, just a
examples.
mention. And so the little bit I know, don't take this as legal advice, people, but the little bit I know, it's fine.
Disclaimer. Okay, so okay, there's the career day lane, and
Yes.
then how many are in your seasons
4.
four? So Winnie Loves Winter.
Spencer Knows Spring, which
So
is
cute.
I'm like, Spencer, what juice do you have? Because Winnie Loves Winter is beloved, but Spencer is like on everybody's list, and I'm
It's
just
a
like,
good name.
is it? Is
I
that what
like
it is?
Spencer. It's just a cute name.
So Spencer Knows Spring, Fallon Favors Fall, and Sunny
Valid.
Vibe Summer.
Okay. Okay, so you got all four seasons.
Yes, finally.
What's the next category?
So then we have the character focus book. So like you're gonna talk about sportsmanship. So I have Sammy the Good Sport and Samantha the Good Sport. We have the honesty book, so Scouts Honor. We have the book about changing families and friendships, so new experiences. So that's about divorce and what happens when your
Mm,
friend's parents are getting divorced and your friend
wow.
moves. So it's teaching about empathy, it's teaching about understanding, it's also teaching about yeah, what happens when things change and how to adapt to that.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. And we have Imagination Pack, as I like to call it. So it is the night the lights went out that talks about the kids of the digital age not knowing how to function during a blackout.
Ooh. There's a book. It's not. It's a. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It got super popular, and it's just about something. How kids can't have their phones or something one day.
Hmm.
Oh, it's called like the Purple People or something
Oh,
like
that's
that.
funny.
Have you read that
No,
one?
I haven't. Maybe I
But
should
this
though.
is bigger than that. To me, this takes the concept up a notch because I think about this a lot. I, for more than half of my life, there was no cell phone.
Correct.
There was no, I mean, there was a wired computer at the house, but there wasn't
At
like
some point.
Wi-Fi just floating through the
Right.
atmosphere, and you could everything wasn't in the cloud. So I do wonder, even for my generation, what 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 would we do? What happens? Okay, you don't have to give us a spoiler, but
Right.
what do we do when the lights go out?
He figures it out after using up all electricity and things in the house. And it goes out. I mean, at first he's like, "Are we in the olden times? Like, is this the 1990s? Like, what is happening?"
I need that book on my shelf now.
But he figures it out. And he
Um,
brings the family together. So instead of like off on his own playing and everybody's in their own corners, it's about like using your imagination and being together as a family. You can overcome anything, even a blackout. So
at the night the lights went
the
out.
night the lights went out.
To your early readers list, I'm definitely gonna grab that because it's one of the things we're always trying to impress to our children that you shouldn't be so dependent on this stuff. It wasn't always here, and it can go away, even if just for a limited time. I mean, if you were here during Harvey, you know exactly what it's like when the electricity's out. That TV
Hmm.
is just a big empty box.
I know.
The everything that you've depended on. There's no iPad. There's no cell phone. Like we were huddled up in one room using the fireplace for
Uh-huh.
heat. Okay,
Right.
and we survived,
You
right?
did.
So what is it? What is it like to voluntarily unplug sometimes so that it
Hmm.
doesn't feel so jarring?
Yeah.
I'm getting that book.
Well, thank you. And then we
Add it to the list.
have
The
so
night the lights
funny.
went out.
uh, what we call basic concept books. So you heard about the seasons, but we also have I Have 10 Toes, a Christian
Oh,
version,
are
and
these
then
baby books?
that one, yeah.
Are they board books?
No, because of the cost.
They're so expensive.
Yeah, but it would be perfect as a board book, but it's costly.
Let me tell you how this is. I'm not trying to be political right now,
No.
but
Hmm.
this smooth ticked me off. I finally got into a space where I was like, I had a couple of clients who wanted to go board books,
Yeah.
which you actually can get done reasonably inexpensive, only if you have them made in China.
Yeah.
And the tariffs hit,
Yeah.
and they like double, triple, quadrupled in price
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
And I was like railing. I was just
Yeah.
like,
So if you come across, cost efficient, then yes, I would readapt them to
if the
board book.
if the tariffs are lifted all the way to pre
I
2024,
know.
I would definitely go back into board books because China will ship you 500 of those bad boys for a couple dollars per book. You're not going to get them in the US. You're not going to
Right.
get them
No,
here.
no. I bought like a keepsake one for my daughter. It was like $40 to
Oh,
do it. So that's why I'm like, they were like, "Oh, do you have this?" I'm like, "No." My daughter
not
has it, not
$40
me.
for a board book.
Yeah. That's why I said it was a
It's
keepsake.
rough out here. I don't think people actually understand the costs of
No,
things.
they don't.
If you don't mind, because I like to talk money. I don't like to say, when people think it's crass to talk money. Let's take I don't want to do your first book because that's always a little different, but let's take right
Mhm.
now, you're going to put out a new career day. It's going to be, Patty learns about publishing, okay? And you want to go from finished manuscript to fully published book out in commerce. What's the price tag on a project like that? Now, we're
Oh,
not
girl,
talking
I don't
about
know.
project management.
I'm like, huh?
We're not talking about labor. Like, I'm talking about
The
the,
actual
the,
cost.
the
Cost.
cost of doing business. So, illustrations and formatting and layout and editing.
Mhm.
What do you think is like a generalized ticket amount
It
just for you?
depends. It depends. It really depends. And that's why I like to talk about rapid publishing because I've been able to use gig sites at different price points.
Sure.
So for children's books or picture books, you are going to have that illustrator cost. That's going to be the bulk. And so I've have illustrations that are over 2000 and I have illustrations that are 200. It just depends. And so for Andrew books are the most expensive, but it is to make but it is a one-stop shop. So she does the, like you said, layout, the formatting, the interior, the design, the cover, and everything. And
Mm,
so I pay her more for those books. And she does full color, she does the background, she does the characters. So she's more expensive. But if you're going to publish 8 books in like a year, then you're going to
mm-hmm,
need to scale back on some of that. And so it depends. So the highest cost is the illustrations, but
mm-hmm,
also, like you said, those other things that can play into it. I do not do bulk printing, particularly because I have a full time job, which I really enjoy. And secondly, because I have 27 titles. And so bulk, like you said, starts like 500.
So you're print on demand.
I print on demand.
Yeah,
So I
smart.
don't have that cost that I have to front.
one thing that people don't always understand because you call it rapid publishing, but
Mhm.
illustrations also can take a long time.
They can.
I mean, I've seen them, pumped out in a couple of months, but I've also
Mhm.
seen them take over a
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
I have a client right now who's doing a graphic novel.
Yeah.
They've been illustrating for months and months and
I could
months.
see because everything, every frame is different.
Every single frame is
Yeah.
hand drawn. Now,
Yeah.
if you want to be cute and use AI to illustrate your book,
No.
just know you can't copyright it. You don't own it, and somebody else can use those same images, and you don't have a leg to stand on because it was auto generated. Which
You're like, I'm not saying don't do
I am saying don't
it.
do it.
Okay.
But if you one of those people who are like I want everything instant, I want it right now, you have to trade the intellectual property rights for speed, which means down the line you can see your book printed over and over again by other people. They're
Mhm.
gonna white label it. They're gonna just put out the same book, and you're not gonna be able to argue with them. And if
Mhm.
you try to send it into the copyright office, you're not gonna be able to copyright
Yeah.
images that you used AI on. Um, so I'm not telling you what to do or not to do, but you're gonna have some trouble with that. Um, I say all that to say I don't think books are fast money.
Oh no.
And I don't think but there's people who think that. I don't think they're easy
Mhm.
money either. And so
No.
every once in a while someone's like, I'm thinking about quitting my job and writing a book.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes me nervous every time I hear someone say that.
Yeah, I don't know where people thought that
People do
publishing a
think
book.
that.
I'm just wondering where that idea came from though, because I didn't have that idea. But maybe I don't know. But I'm like, where did this idea that you publish a book and you're a mate like you can quit your job?
Television. It has to be TV.
Where?
It has to be like those Hallmark movies.
Oh, but they're also writing novels, so perhaps I don't know. I would like to know what
Oh.
Kennedy Ryan is making now that but she has TV adaptations and things, so I'm sure she's in the
That's
six
where the
figures by
money's at.
now. Yeah,
Because even okay, let's just break this down. Kennedy Ryan, I don't know this lady in
me
person. I do
either.
not know what her deals look like. I've never
Me
looked.
either.
You can go on Publishers Marketplace and see what people's deals are worth, but I haven't done that.
Okay.
Uh, Kennedy Ryan has several books, many,
Mm-hmm.
many, many books, but
Novels.
she is signed, meaning she
Mm-hmm.
definitely is getting an advance.
Mm-hmm.
So that pays for her time to do nothing but write.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much,
Depending on how much she's getting.
and I don't know how much her advance is, but she now owes the publisher most of the money per book. She's
Mm,
making maybe $1 per book.
maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not novels. But yeah, so even so you know me as the self-publishing side, but I also have the traditional published side.
Okay.
And so
Oh, yes. I came to your event at Lit Java and you
yeah,
had just got this deal to write for something for
had I at that
it was
time?
an announcement. I just remember you wearing this bad pink suit.
Man, I look good that day.
I look good that day. And you did. And did. And did. I walked in and saw you on stage in that pink suit and I said, she
Yes,
don't play. She did not
I
come in here to
was.
play with
I
y'all.
did not. That was my 4 year. I might have just gotten an agent, but I feel like no. I feel like I hadn't gotten an agent until January 2025. Yeah,
Okay.
because we're in
So
26.
how did you get an agent?
Girl, minding my business. So I kind of feel bad because people are really like out here querying and getting rejected over and over, but that's not my story. So my story is I'm the self-pub coordinator of SCBWI Houston, a Society of Children Book Writers and Illustrators.
Okay.
And so they're a national organization, but they have regional. Mhm. And so I was a member of the Houston one, and I had attended a webinar. I mean, what is it called? Yeah, webinar. Like every month they have a meeting, monthly meeting. And so I was attending that meeting, and my agent Sheila was presenting at that meeting. She wasn't my agent at the time. And so I had just gone through PB Rising Stars, and it's actually called PB Rising Stars, but the PB stands for picture books. And I had been selected as a mentee to Tanya Duncan Ellis, who is a
Mhm.
multi hundred thousands plus sold children's
Mhm.
book author, but she writes like middle grade. And she turned to traditional publishing because she was like, girl, I can't keep grinding like this.
Mhm.
So she was like, have you ever thought about traditional publishing? I'm like, not really. And so anyway, I went through that mentorship. She was my mentor, and what you do in that mentorship is work on projects to submit. So by the end of the mentorship, I really didn't have anything, but I had an idea, I guess. So we had started on something. And so Sheila at this event, at this monthly meeting, was like, hey, whatever she was talking about, but at the end, I'm accepting submissions. I was like, I'm gonna send
This is the
this.
agent
This is an
accepting
agent.
submission.
She was like, hey, I'm accepting submissions. And that happens a lot of times when you go to these author type meetings and they have an editor or an agent there. They will be like, hey, I'm accepting submissions. That don't mean you're gonna get an agent, but at least you have an opportunity. Like, oh, it's somebody I heard. I know what they want.
Hmm.
And so I submitted my manuscript, and she was like, I love it. And so
And this is a children's book manuscript.
And so she's great in the sense that she understands that I have my Sugar Cookie Books independent arm, and that's not going anywhere. And she doesn't want anything from it. She's not saying you got to stop it, but new works that I might want her to represent, then she'll represent that. Because at first we just contracted on one manuscript, but then she was like, "Hey, I have a couple of people that liked." So usually when you have an agent and they're submitting, they want to submit at least 2 or 3 manuscripts. And so me submitting the one, it was like, okay, what they want to see what else you might have. And so she came back and was like, hey, do you have anything else? And I was like, actually, I do kind of have something I've been toying around with. So I submitted that one too. But what said all that to say, even with that, I cannot quit my job
Hmm. Hmm.
to just be a traditionally published author, at least not at this juncture. So it's like, yeah, I'll get an advance and I might put it towards, making more books. That's what happened when I was work for hire and the story of Maya Angelou that's published by Simon and Schuster. I got an advance and I was able to use that money to publish like the next 8, 10, 12 books or whatever that I did. I couldn't quit my job, but I could publish books, so.
I love that. Let me ask you about that experience because Simon and Schuster is one of the big five. Everybody
Mhm.
knows Simon and Schuster,
Mhm.
and they reach out and they ask you to do what?
It's not them. It was another company called Callisto Media, and they went away now. But at the time, I was sitting there minding my business. I had just come off of.
I love how money finds you. I love how money finds her.
Because when, like you said earlier, when you're operating in the way you should go, even though I'm still sitting up there like I need to be big law, but all these opportunities is coming like dropping in my lap.
Yes, yes, that's
Um,
wonderful.
So I'm sitting there minding my business, had only released Andrew Learns About Actors at that time, which I guess that's how they thought I would be good for the project they had for me. It wasn't the project that came to see light. But anyway, so they came around, an agent for Callisto came around, was like, hey, we, seen your, somebody recommended. So whoever they have do research, they recommended me, hey, would you be interested in writing XYZ? Da 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 da. So I looked it up. I was like, "Is this real?" So I looked it up. I was like, "Oh, this is real." And so we engaged. They accepted my work because you have to like send in what is it called, like a work sample. And
Hmm.
so I sent in my work, and it was like, "Okay, yes, you got it." So I was paid for that. I don't get any royalties on it, but I was paid
Yeah,
upfront,
flat fee.
a flat free because it was work for hire.
Hmm.
And so that book never saw the light of day.
Oh, but you still got paid.
I still got paid, but it got shelved. So you do all that work and then everything it gets shelved because that particular company works on research and algorithms. And so it's like, oh, I guess by the time it got finished being produced, nobody
That
cared about
wasn't.
it anymore or
Yeah.
something. So anyway, sitting there like, woe is me. Maybe I wasn't good enough. And even though they told me the reason, it's still like, well, maybe I wasn't good enough. And then they came back around probably a year later and it was like, hey, do you want to do this? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I passed on that. And then they came back and it was like, hey, you want to write about Sojourner Truth? And I was like,
Ooh.
sure.
Yes,
And
yes, of course we
so
do.
they were like, okay, it's between you and somebody else. So I sent them my work sample. They was like, no, we're going to go with such and such. And I was like, darn. And so minding my business. And they come back probably a few weeks later and they're like, hey, you want to write about Maya Angelou? Yes. Everybody who knows me
Hmm.
knows that I love me some Maya Angelou. And so I'm like, thank you, God, for moving that Sojourner Truth out the way. Like giving me that wink. Like it wasn't you. It really wasn't you. Because remember, I'm like,
I got
I know
something
they
better
told
for
me it
you.
wasn't me as to
Hmm.
why the book was shelved. They said it was, the metrics. I know they said that, but still, I feel like maybe they shelved it because it wasn't good enough. But then they still coming to me, so they're not gonna still come to you if you're not good enough. I didn't get Sojourner, and I'm like, whatever. But I got my Maya Angelou girl, and so that one got shelved. And I'm
This
like,
is sounding so much. I don't. We've had actors on here, and we've had some people in the music business on here, and this is what their life is like. You will
yes.
spend every ounce of energy working on a project, and the project will collect us.
It can collect dust. And so I like to tell people like you don't have control. So self-publishing you can control when it comes out, if it comes out, da, da, da. But if you work for hire, if you're traditionally published, you don't know what's going to happen to that book. So it got shelved, but then months later they were like, "Oh wait, we want to go ahead and release it." And so yeah, it is out to the world. I was jumping around my house like, "Yes, finally, my book." So anyway, but yeah, so I got paid for those. Don't get royalties on them. But when these manuscripts that I have sell, then I'll get paid in advance, like you said, and then I'll have some royalties and other opportunities. But all of that to say, I can't quit my job.
No. Well,
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you.
I don't care if they're shelved or not. The fact that the people keep reaching out to you, they like your work, they value, what you do, that's its own validation.
Validation.
There is something that you're doing that is attracting both agents and publishers alike. And whether or not they can find a way to use it right, then they want it, right? So they're
Mm-hmm.
seeking you out. Very interestingly, I was listening to an NPR podcast, and they had a gentleman on who his job is he's like a buyer for big bookstores, and he was explaining like the risk analysis of how many books to buy and when. And the
Mm-hmm.
publishing industry's got these razor thin margins, and they
Mm-hmm.
cannot afford to misstep, because if they can't sell the books, like literally they're melting them down, burning them down, turning them into pulp and recycling them. Like they have to either sell the book or not sell the book. And so I am, on the one hand, super excited at the resurgence of bookstores. They're on a comeback tour right now. Like they're everywhere. And I love that. But I also realize why they went away in the first place. They're like grocery stores.
Yeah.
They're
It's thin.
razor thin
It's thin.
margins. But now I think what bookstores have figured out is it's not about the books as much as it is the community. Get them in there, serve them some coffee,
I know.
bring in the vendors, have other
Yes.
reasons. And
Events.
yeah, shout out to our local
I
bookstores.
know.
Big up Kindred Stories. Big up Lit Java.
I love them.
I don't sleep on Barnes and Noble, because your local Barnes and Noble has a community manager in it who is going to try to make it feel like a community bookstore. So I've done plenty of events at Barnes and Noble working with a community manager, and they can make that vibe for you. They don't act like big box stores if
Mm.
you know the people,
Yeah.
right? But for those independent bookstores, that's where my heart is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love it. They can do so much in there. I've been to belly dancing classes
Yep.
at Lit Java. I've been to creative events at Kindred Stories, where it's just a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of creatives from Houston and the literary world talking. So we can't survive without those places, particularly now when it feels like history is being scrubbed,
Yeah.
books are being banned and removed, and these places are going to be the last bastion of education for us. So
Yeah.
we got to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
go buy a book. I don't care. Go buy a book while you're in there, get some coffee. You know what I'm saying? Buy a book. Keep it alive. Okay. So you said you can't pay your bills with this. I just want to know, like, is there a vision? Maybe we should ask your husband. He's the visionary
I know,
here.
right?
Is there a vision to be a full-time writer?
No.
Never?
Mm-mm. I don't want the pressure. I like being able to write when I want to write, what I want to write, how I want to write it. So even
Ooh.
having the traditional, the literary agent. Um, so there's a third manuscript I'm working on, and I'm like going back and forth. I was like, should I even have presented it to her or just published it myself? Because I know how I wanted to publish it, but because of the industry, she has feedback, and so like we're going back and forth. If I
Oh.
had to do that all the time, no. Or if I had to think about what I was publishing and how I was going to publish it so I can make money, so I can pay a bill, no. So for me, and I really do enjoy my day job. So for me, I do not foresee becoming a full time. I don't know what's in the cards, but I do not foresee. That's not my desire.
There are a bunch of people, not for nothing, because we said we needed to highlight all different paths, like all the different ways you can use your law degree.
Yeah.
There are working writers, the way that there are working actors, who
Mm-hmm.
never do a big novel, never do a big anything. They are constantly churning out the writing that's in your magazines and in your digital publications and Forbes and all these places. Like they are writing and they're submitting constantly. That is a path. Would you do that?
When I feel like it.
Okay. But that wouldn't be all day, every day.
No, 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 no.
Okay, fair.
Not for me.
You
And
know,
because I know the margins too. You know how many books I would need to get bought from a publisher, how much, and the deals for picture books are not multi-million. They're
Right.
not even six figures. So it's like that.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of those children's books don't even go triple platinum like that till the author's gone and
I'm talking
dead.
about your advance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's not like you're getting this advance that you can live on for the rest of your year. The year you could probably live off of it for a month,
Right.
but not for the rest of the year. So I'm like, you know how many stories I would have to write and hope to get accepted because they reject a lot. Like these publishing
Yeah.
houses reject, 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 and so that's
You
too
think
much.
you think of things like, the very hungry caterpillar that sold like six
Yeah,
million copies or something. Is that guy still alive?
I'm about to say probably after he died.
That's the thing. By the time you are putting up real numbers, you're not even able
I
to
know it's
enjoy
one
it a
of my
lot of times.
fears.
Why being Vincent Van Gogh? Like, what's your
Like I do pretty well, like as far as popularity with the books or whatever, but like it skyrockets and becomes the next Goodnight Moon when I'm like
well, your
not
kids
here.
can get the money.
Well, that's true, but still.
Counts. Still counts. That's why you got to do your trademark and you got to do all the copywriting so that somebody doesn't steal your work. Let's say someone wants to learn more about that SCBWI.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
So it's an organization for children book writers and illustrators. So what they do is provide support, resources, meetings, community for people who are interested in writing children's books or who write children's books and illustrate children's books. So they have like a lot of conferences. They have a lot of just learning opportunities focused on children book writing and illustrating.
Mhm.
And so for what I do, they saw a need for self-publishing. So the society focuses a lot on traditional publishing, which is fine. But they saw Houston at least saw like, hey, you know what? There's a self-publishing community. Why don't we get a coordinator for that? And so I pitched my hat in there, like, oh yeah, you're perfect. So what I do as well as the self-publishing coordinator is those who have signed up for to be a part of the community, self-publishing community. I hold like little mini webinars on who should self-publish, are the ins and outs of self-publishing, what are things that you still want to do even if you are
Who
self-publishing,
should?
huh?
Who should self-publish?
Those who want to learn how to do so.
Mm. Is there anyone? Let me ask you this way: who shouldn't self-publish?
Those who do not want to learn how to do so. Because my whole thing is, and I don't know, I mean, you have your whole publishing house. And so I do help clients sometimes, but the clients who go through like my writing courses that I've had, we have a better working relationship because although we're self-published, my thoughts is, or the myth is you're self-published so you can do whatever you want.
Mm,
And I say, not exactly if you want your book to be able to compete with the traditionally
that's
published
right.
books. And so you have to learn how to write the children's books. You have to learn how to, the research behind it. Like, how are you writing it? Why are you writing it? Are people looking for what's already out there so you can write yours in a different way? Just the nuances of putting together a book. It's a whole new skill that you're
Hmm.
learning. And so just because you're like, I'm self published and I can do it and nobody has to tell me, that's true. But why? So learn the rules, if you will, of self-publish of writing a book. So if you want to break it, then at least you know how to break it and why you're breaking it, and it can be a breaking for good. And as I tell the community, like, hey, I've had these opportunities to work to write for hire. I have an agent, but I didn't get that because I was just throwing out anything. I got that because I studied and because I write the stories the way that the industry would be okay
See how that legal background? See how that legal background came right back home to roost?
with.
That's the lawyer in you. Like, oh, if I'm going to do it, we're going to research it. We're going
Yeah.
to, follow the. Now, I don't want to say traditional rules because obviously you have found a way to add your own flair. You're
Hmm.
not cookie cutter. Sugar cookie books aside, you're not cookie cutter, right? There's something that you're doing that stands out and setting you apart. So I love that for you. I guess since we're talking about sugar cookie books, what's next for sugar cookie books?
So, what's immediately next? So, oh, I didn't mention this, but I have the beginner chapter books that are legal retellings of classic fairy tales. And so,
How do you get a legal retelling?
girl, so you don't know, you haven't seen it. Okay. So I have two at the moment.
Okay.
The two fairy tales is the Three Pigs, and the other one is Goldilocks. So with the first one, which came out the gate, so we have Olivia Odemeyer.
That's her name.
Yes, she is the owl judge, and she's kind of based off of me as far as like she has self doubt about her abilities, even though she's trusted among the forest to do good things and make fair decisions. She's like, oh my gosh, like, what if I don't know something? What if I don't say it right? What if I stutter? What if I stammer? Does that make me lose credibility? And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So that's Olivia Odemeyer, who is the judge of the Woodland Forest Court. And so
The Woodland
she.
Forest Court. I just love how you name everything. It's so dreamy.
And so, what she does in the Three Pigs versus the Wolf, this is her very first case. And so,
Oh, she's the judge.
she's the judge, girl.
So that's why it's legal retelling because
Yes,
she's
because the three
adjudicating the
pigs
story.
sue the wolf for blowing down her homes, girl. And so she is the judge of that lawsuit that the Three Pigs have brought. And so the Three Pigs, they're pro se. The stick houses.
They're pro se. They couldn't even afford an attorney.
No, they don't, because it's like the first one. So they're
It must
pro
be
se.
small claims because they should have had one. They should need a lawyer.
They did pretty good. They had their sister. She's the owner of the brick house, so she's the architectural expert as well. So she has some
expert
stuff
testimony.
to add. Yep.
Okay.
And so then the wolf, he's defended by Carl Coyote, and so he's a zealous advocate. So he's not. He possibly
Is
is.
he an ambulance chaser? Carl
He
Coyote is
look,
giving ambulance chaser.
He had a too small hat and a raggedy old suit. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
so,
no.
but he is zealous, and my son hated him. He's like, that doesn't even make sense because he will, defend his client. So we have that one, and then we have the other one that just came out. I want to say in March, but Goldilocks sues the three bears.
How is she gonna? You know what? I have had beef with Goldilocks for 40
lot of people
solid
have.
years because what are you doing in these people's house touching all their stuff and then have the nerve to be scared? You scared?
Yeah.
We're scared. We just came home from church. You in here eating our food and breaking stuff.
That's exactly right. So after she did all that, she sues them for the legal term defamation of character.
Frivolous lawsuit.
And so Odemeyer, Olivia, the judge, she adjudicates that one, and Carl Coyote returns, but this time he's on the plaintiff's side. So he is representing Goldilocks, and the Bears have a city.
That makes sense because he would take that case. He's scrupulous, this
He's
guy.
like, he has no variety now, so now his hat fits. Now he has a nice, clean suit. And then his opponent is Benjamin Beaver.
Beaver's always the good guy.
Who came from the city. So, yeah. Well, he grew up in the forest, but he went to the city, and then he got tired of all the fast pace of law. So he came back to help the community. So, yeah. So you
layers. There's layers to this, and I love it. I'm speaking this to existence. This needs to be on TV.
I know, and I've wrote it in a way where it's a lot of dialogue, of course, and so I'm hoping one day it can be adapted to like stage plays or TVs. But yeah, so I'll have my third one coming out, which probably will be my final one. I'm still trying to think of ideas of how to present whatever case.
How many pages are these?
So the first one is like 70, and the second one is
these are
90.
good. These are good length books.
Beginner chapter books. So you're going to still have illustrations here and there throughout.
Yeah.
Not too many words, and the chapters are tiny. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice big print.
And so adults and children like it, but I have had adults who I'm like, hey, they're like, oh, I love this, but I'm not getting Goldilocks because I don't like her. She's an unsympathetic character. And I'm like, but in this story, like the whole goal is objectivity. It's about things are not always what they seem.
She's giving big villain energy. Okay. Goldilocks has always given Karen.
Well, I made her Somalian in this one.
Oh,
now you like her, huh?
No, I have questions. She's a Somalian with blonde hair?
Yes. And you know how I came up with that?
How?
So, I mean, just wanting to like have a black character. But also when Beyonce Cowboy Carter tour was going on, I think last year, some Instagram page was posting about how people always say Beyonce want to be white. She want to be white. And one way she want to be white
because her hair is
her blonde hair.
I've seen lots of black people with natural blonde hair.
And so that's what their point was. And they're like, there's a whole groups in Africa who are darker skinned with blonde, like
forget Africa.
Hair.
That spread out all over the world now. Like that diaspora of dark skinned blonde hair, it's everywhere.
So that's where that came from.
It's in Aboriginal people. My daughter's hair is red.
My husband's hair is red.
Legitimate red. And in the summer, it turns blonde on the tips. And she is fully African American. I mean, well.
But yeah, that's how they came about. So I was like, I'm going to make her black with blonde hair.
I feel like beefing with you about that, but I'm going to let it go.
Why?
Because I feel like we have to not like her.
Well, it's fine. She's a kid.
I'm still not going to like her.
If you read it, you'll probably be like, oh, okay.
Oh.
Because my son, again, he was like, no. And my husband was like, what are you doing?
You get so you gave her enough layers and enough relatability that we can see her
Yeah.
as a person, not just
Yes, of
an
course.
intruder.
Yeah, I mean, she did intrude, but that's
Did
not the case at issue, whether she intruded or not.
it's whether or not they defamed her in their retelling of what
That's
happened.
exactly right. So you learn about
Let
name
me add this. Let
calling,
me add this to my list now. Also, what is that one called? Wait.
Goldilocks versus the Three Bears.
Okay, I
But
need to
yeah, I
just
love
get all the
those.
books. Is
Those are
that on
fun.
pre-sale yet? Is that one out?
That's out.
Goldilocks is out, but the Three Pigs is not
That
out.
was the first one that was out. Both of those are
What's
out.
that one called?
Three Pigs versus the Wolf.
Oh, and so the last one's gonna be the last one.
Yes. Even though my husband's like, you're onto something, and people are like, these books are brilliant. You need to keep going. But I'm like, I don't want to lose the nuance of
Hmm.
it. So yeah, the
I
next
think
one's gonna
trilogies
be.
are nice. They should come in threes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know
that
what you're gonna do
confirmation.
for the next one, but
I'm still figuring out too, but
maybe
I
you
have an
can dip
idea.
into Ariel. She got a lot of
I had
beef.
thought about her, but
She overdone.
kind of, and also I don't want to do Disney.
What about Red Riding Hood?
I've thought about her, but I don't know how to do it in a way that's not going to mirror the pigs and wolf situation.
Oh yeah.
And I also don't want to have to deal with like, because there's not
Hansel and
criminal
Gretel.
cases.
Hansel
I
and Gretel.
have thought about Hansel and Gretel, and my husband's like, oh, nobody knows that story. I'm like, yes, you.
Everybody knows
Thank
Hansel and
you.
Gretel.
Because I'm thinking of like
What
attractive
up?
nuisance and things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Hmm.
What about the well nobody really like the African stories, Anansi and all those stories that
I
came
don't
out of
know those, but that's cool. Maybe that'll be the next
what?
set and
Where there's
series.
always Briar Rabbit. He had a lot of beef. He had a lot of mess going on too. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I love this for you. So now that we've walked through your long
I
and
know, girl.
very diverse set of experiences that made you who you are today, looking back, if you had a point on that map to do over and do differently, what is the thing you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
Not have wasted or sat around feeling unsuccessful, if you will,
Mm.
for so long. It was such a long time. And so becoming a children's book writer and publisher was liberating in the sense that I was like, I can define what success looks like for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, success looks like completing the projects. For me, success looks like selling, like being able to sell the book to someone who's not my family and friends. But then it just became so much more. But because I had already ticked off those boxes and didn't have like this grandiose of success looks like being a New York Times bestseller, something I can't even qualify for as a
Mm-hmm.
self-published author. Um, has been liberating. But yeah, just not spending so much time doubting myself.
I love that. If you had a moment to sit down with someone coming behind you who was deciding a path and they had something that they love and that they're good at, but they also had the pressure of a family who loves them and wants them to have an easier life. So that's kind of how you get, pushed into those categories. What's the conversation you have with them about what first step to take that to create a life that they can love?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at a point where you don't have to just be one thing anymore. And so, even when I go to career days and talk about, hey, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also an author, like you can be anything you want to be, and
Mm-hmm.
you could be multiple things. Maybe not all at once,
Mm-hmm.
but just because you may pursue the more lucrative job, the job that's going to pay your bills, you can still do the other things. So, just don't limit yourself because we're so beyond that now. And I talk
Yes.
to like older authors who are mothers or whatever. They're like, girl, like when I was like, it's so cool that you're able to be a wife, a mother, a lawyer, um, a full time employee. And
Come on, multi hyphenate.
yeah, they're like,
Yes.
you're doing all these things. And she's like, when I was growing up, like we just did one. And if you had a child, you probably just was at home with your child. So we've evolved so much since I don't want to say olden times, but we've evolved so much, and especially since the short period of 2020 to now,
Yep.
where more opportunity is available to us.
When people read your books, I- regardless of category,
Mhm.
what's the through line? What is the theme? What is the mission that you bake into everything that you decide to go ahead and put in print?
Yes, inspire, educate, and normalize. My books is going to inspire you, and it's going to educate you, and we're going to normalize our Black children
Mhm.
so they can be seen as worthy, and the world can be made safe for them.
Do you feel like that you'll be able to continue despite some of the pushback and pressure and the current sort of
Hmm.
zeitgeist administration around books by black authors. I mean, a lot
I
of
know.
black books have been just uniformly blanket banned out of schools, school
Hmm.
libraries, etc. W- What's the path forward if that continues?
Other pathways. So people often be like, "Oh, you wrote a children's book. Are you in schools?" And I'm like, "That's not really." And that's what's so great about paving your own way. You don't have to just fall into what other people do.
Hmm.
So while I do go do school visits, I do understand that there are limitations on, well, one, there's like red tape on becoming vendors with the districts,
Hmm.
first off. But let's just say you do that. But there's red tape on what books can be presented at school levels. And so um, what I continue to do is go out into the community myself, showing up at those events as vendors and, just being available online, things like that. So if you want to learn about being an engineer, that's an option. Andrew Learns About Engineers has been a bestseller on Amazon a few times, and it was pre 47, but
Hmm.
it still does really well. And so my whole thing and my whole message that I try to say all the time, or that I do say all the time, is my books cover universal things, except for one or maybe two. Black Boy Hair Joy is specific for black boys and their hair, but of course, anyone who pick up that book can still see the beauty of black boys in it. And then My Summer Skin is Radiant is for, I wrote it for black communities, but I've come to learn that communities such as the Indian communities, communities from India, communities, Mexican communities, like anywhere where there's like colorism.
Color cast, yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh my gosh, my grandma needs this. And so that's what I'm like, these are universal themes. They just really have a black character on it, but they can learn about being nice to people. They can learn about being honest. They can learn about a season. Like that's it.
Hmm. Let me ask you about the balance aspect quickly. So, full time job, basically a full time author too at this volume. Mother, that comes with its whole full time. Also, wife, husbands need things, right? They need time. They need attention from you. Two questions. The first is, how do you balance all those aspects? And then, having said that, what do you do to return to self so that you can get focused?
Yeah, so again, I think we just evolved so much. And so I've mentioned my husband a few times and how he's supportive. So even right now, recording this podcast, that means I'm not home with my children. So my husband's at home and I'm sure he's going to start texting like, are you coming home soon? But, but just having my husband be supportive, having my mom, she steps in like at the times, few times I have my husband come with me to events. She'll step in and watch the kids. And then my kids get to see, like, of course, they have their little quips like, why are you always doing da da da? But they also are very proud of their mom being able to have multiple jobs. Like my son did a biography
Oh,
of me for his class assignments.
so
Oh,
sweet.
right.
I know
So,
your heart was big, just beating out of your
girl. And
chest.
he's like, because you're an author and you're my mommy and you're, a lawyer and, saying all these things, the hyphenates. And so I'm like, okay, so although sometimes you can be a booty head and make me feel bad when you say things such as, why are you always
That's
gone?
not what he put in his biography, did he?
No.
I was like, I know we're not calling names.
No, I said he makes me feel like a booty head at times
Oh.
by commenting on where are you going today or something like that.
Hmm.
But they really enjoy seeing their mom and their dad. Their dad has businesses too. Their dad just do more than one thing. So
Hmm.
the images is important. And so I try to say that I try to stay on my purpose. I try to stay on my mission. And because I do not have a desire to be a full-time writer, it's easier to say, I have a story I want to tell, and I can take the little pockets of time to tell it instead of I have to get this story over to an agent or editor or anything like that.
And then the second part was, how do you return to yourself? How do you?
Return to myself. So I have girls' time,
Mm.
which also cuts into my weekends, but I have my girls' time. And I was able to go get a massage last week because I
Oof.
complained enough. And the husband was like, just go. And I'm like,
How
thank
many
you.
kids do you
I have two.
have? Okay. Not an unwieldy amount. You got a manageable amount of
No,
kids.
yes. It was just two, just two, just two.
On our way out, let us know where to find you, where to find your books, how people can discover you online, all your social media handles.
So, Sugar Cookie Books, that's the name of the publishing imprint, and that's where you can find me everywhere. So, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, at Sugar Cookie Books. I do also have a Tiffany Obeng website. So, if you're like, I didn't know what she said about cookies, but you do know my name. You can find me on tiffanyobeng.com. And yeah, Sugar Cookie Books.
Thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed our time together. You are an absolute joy, a light, and I love that you know who you are and that you're completely like sold that that's enough,
It
and you
is
don't
enough.
need to be anybody else.
Maya Angelou said it. You alone are enough.
And that's why they picked you to write that book. Give me a hug, girl. This is great.
Yay!
Tune in next month for our next episode of Take Yourself to Work. And we'll talk to another person who has found their passion and been able to pursue that outside the lines, and they found success without losing themselves in the process. Thank you very much. See you next month.
Woo!